Welcome back to the channel. If you've been following this series, we've been building a picture of what masculine improvement actually looks like when it's grounded in responsibility and maturity. In episode 1, we talked about mastering yourself before trying to control anything else. In episode 2, we talked about the difference between complaining about the world and building something meaningful within it. Today, we arrive at the third and final part of this series, and this one is important because it deals with something that many men struggle with as they grow. Episode 3 is called Protect Without Becoming Hard, because strength is necessary, responsibility is necessary, protection is necessary. But if strength is not balanced with restraint and compassion, it can turn into something destructive. Real masculine maturity is learning how to be strong without becoming bitter, and how to protect without losing your humanity. The responsibility of protection, one of the most ancient and meaningful roles men have carried throughout history, is the role of protector. Not in the sense of domination or control, but in the sense of safeguarding what matters. Families, communities, principles, and peace all depend on people who are willing to stand between danger and those who cannot defend themselves. Imagine a village surrounded by forests. Most of the time, the forest is quiet and peaceful. But sometimes danger comes from beyond the trees. When it does, someone must stand watch. Someone must stay awake while others sleep. Awareness and courage. Protection is not about ego. It's about responsibility. A man who understands protection recognizes that his strength exists for something larger than himself. His discipline allows others to feel safe. His stability creates calm in moments when fear could easily spread. Protection can take many forms. Sometimes it means defending people physically. Sometimes it means protecting a family from instability by providing structure and support. Sometimes it means protecting peace in a room by refusing to escalate anger when emotions run high. The point is that strength becomes meaningful when it serves something beyond the individual. Strength versus aggression, one of the biggest confusions in modern culture, is the difference between strength and aggression. Aggression is loud, impulsive, and often driven by insecurity. Strength is controlled, steady, and purposeful. Imagine a guard dog chained in a yard barking wildly at every passing car. It appears fierce, but it reacts to everything without discrimination. Now, imagine a trained protection dog standing quietly beside its handler. It doesn't bark unnecessarily. It doesn't attack randomly. But if real danger appears, it acts with precision. The difference is control. Aggression is reaction without discipline. Strength is the ability to apply force only when necessary. Men who lack control often mistake anger for power. But anger that cannot be directed wisely often creates more harm than protection. True strength is the ability to remain calm even when you are capable of force. Strength guided by wisdom protects. Strength driven by impulse destroys. The danger of becoming hardened as men move through life. They inevitably face disappointment, betrayal, and hardship. These experiences can shape character, but they can also slowly harden a person if they are not careful. Imagine a tree growing in a windy valley. Over time, the constant wind strengthens the trunk, but if the tree becomes completely rigid, it can snap during a storm. The healthiest trees are strong, but still flexible enough to bend. Life works the same way. If every hardship turns into bitterness, eventually a man becomes emotionally closed. He stops trusting. He stops caring. He stops allowing compassion into his decisions. But hardness is not the same as strength. A hardened heart may avoid pain, but it also loses the ability to connect. Real maturity means allowing life's difficulties to strengthen you without turning you into someone who can no longer empathize with others. Strength should create stability, not coldness. Compassion and restraint, one of the greatest signs of maturity, is the ability to combine strength with compassion. Compassion does not weaken a man's authority. In fact, it often strengthens it. Imagine a father teaching his child how to ride a bicycle. The father is physically stronger than the child, more experienced and capable of controlling the situation. But he does not use that strength to intimidate the child. Instead, he uses it to guide, support, and encourage. Compassion allows strength to be constructive. It reminds us that people are complex and often struggling with things we cannot see. When a man learns to respond to people with patience instead of immediate judgment, he creates an environment where trust can grow. Compassion does not mean tolerating wrongdoing or abandoning boundaries. It simply means recognizing that strength should be paired with understanding whenever possible. A strong man who can also be compassionate becomes someone others feel safe around. The sword parable. Let me share a simple parable that captures this idea. Imagine two men given the same sword. The first man carries it everywhere, swinging it wildly to show everyone how powerful he is. Eventually, he injures people who were never his enemies. The second man keeps the sword sheathed most of the time. He trains with it. He understands its weight and its purpose. And when real danger appears, he uses it precisely to protect those around him. The sword itself is not the problem. The difference lies in the discipline of the person holding it. Strength without restraint becomes destruction. Strength with wisdom becomes protection. Closing as we close this final episode in the series, Becoming a Man Worth Respecting. Remember that masculine improvement is not about proving dominance or trying to appear powerful. It's about responsibility. Responsibility for your behavior, responsibility for your growth, responsibility for the people and environments that depend on you. Control yourself before trying to control anything else. Build something instead of complaining about everything. And protect what matters without losing your humanity. If this series has meant something to you, I'd really like to hear your thoughts in the comments. What part of this message stood out to you the most? If you know someone who could benefit from this conversation, share the video with them. And if you want to keep growing with this community, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. This is the Ordinary Guide 2.0. Responsibility before ego. See you next time.